Happy January 17th, JLD here, and welcome to MicroStrategy Today. In this show, we'll be talking about MSTR smashing $400 today. A big part of it is the options interest is expiring today, and a lot of institutions are going to have to buy shares to cover. We'll be talking about an epic chart from the Micro Strategist about the days leading up to and after the presidential inauguration in years past and why that's so bullish. I have a full catalyst list that I want to go over with you today. You want to see this. 2025 is going to be amazing. New York Times is talking about a strategic Bitcoin reserve. The CEO of Bitwise is talking about nation state adoption. This is all so bullish, my friends. That's why I found a clip from Michael Saylor to close us out with that talks about we need to stay focused and humble during these times. And you'll see Michael Saylor's great words coming up. So let's dive right in. Okay, we're going to kick it right off with the MicroStrategist chart. How will Trump's inauguration impact Bitcoin and MicroStrategy? This chart shows the average deviation from the power law trend through the last three presidential U.S. Inaugurations. We're currently seeing the run up from a low a few days ago. BTC usually sees a bump a few days after that, followed by a sell the news drop, followed by a solid run up once there is more confidence around government spending. Of course, this time will be different, especially if we get confirmation of a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Where do you think things are headed for BTC and MSTR after the inauguration? And look at this great chart by the MicroStrategist. Here we are right here today. Then here we go up to inauguration. And then afterwards, a little pump, a little dump, and then we are off to the races. But of course, is this going to happen when we have all this bullish news about the most bullish crypto and Bitcoin government of all time? Time will tell. Time will absolutely tell. Let's move on to this post by Ryan. BTC and MSTR jump risk. Here's the reality from my view. This quarter is potentially the biggest inflection point I've ever seen or studied in markets. The catalyst. This is an important list of what's coming up here. Trump crypto ball tomorrow. Equity market closed for Trump day one. That's Martin Luther King Day. Next day, MSTR has a shareholder meeting. Potential. 1. Free Ross. 2. Repeal of SOB 121. 3. Strategic Bitcoin reserve. Supporting detail. Saylor posting the Eric Trump picture. 450K is a hat tip to Trump, 45. Massive political support for Bitcoin. Lummis, Lutnick, RFK Jr., Vance, Sachs, Besant, etc. The political tide has turned. There is a real reflexive setup here. If the above things are to happen within the next month or two, the Bitcoin price goes up. MicroStrategy's EPS, the earnings per share, proportionately goes up, perhaps converts in Q1. I'd say, yes, that's happening for MSTR. MSTR's post-FASB EPS goes out. That's when MicroStrategy is finally going to give an honest and fair accounting of their earnings, which is going to qualify them for the S&P 500. SPX front running. SPX inclusion chances rise. ACWI and NQ100 rebalance higher because MicroStrategy is in those indexes and its market cap will be much higher than when it got in there originally. And so when it rebalances, it'll be in a much higher place, higher ranking, getting a much bigger percentage of the inflows that are coming in there, which is obviously bullish. And then during peak BTC seasonality, because here we are, it is the unbelievable year for Bitcoin to do its thing. So we're going to sit back, relax, and have fun. And I'm going to come at you every day with great news like this. And there's going to be some pullbacks, and we're going to be in this together, my friends. All of the above for MSTR relies solely on the price of Bitcoin, which is reflexively influenced by the combination of MSTR's buying pressure and the success of their playbook, as it has inspired other companies and perhaps a few countries, maybe many countries, to adopt a Bitcoin treasury strategy. And I just love this image of MSTR putting on the hard hat, going to work. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, MicroStrategy, I've heard the rumblings. I believe it's going to smash $400 today. There's so many exciting things that are happening. Of course, MicroStrategy is gratefully and amazingly tied to Bitcoin. So that's going to have a massive impact on that. But if both do what I expect them to do. We'll be waiving at $400 today. And if we're not, we will be very shortly. Absolutely. Let's move on to this, where there's real political momentum to create a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve. The New York Times. The New York Times is reporting a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve, the fact that there's real political momentum behind it. Love to see it. A nation state wants to sell government bonds to buy Bitcoin higher. And this is Hunter Horsley, who's the CEO of Bitwise. We just provided some information for a nation state asking about Bitcoin ETFs. Considering moving some exposure from foreign currency government bonds into Bitcoin, Bitcoin is entering a new chapter. You've known this. I've known this. Finally, the governments are waking up to the fact of, why do I park my money in foreign crap currency, in any fiat whatsoever, which is just melting, which is just going to zero, because all fiat currency goes to zero, and get into a volatile, yes, but amazingly to the upside potential of the best preservation of capital, something called Bitcoin. And of course, I love coming to Stack Hodler to really bring us home for this great run of events. Today is the last trading day to take a Bitcoin position before the Trump administration begins. Imagine that. This is the last day to take a position before the most pro-Bitcoin government ever to exist takes control of the reins. The ETFs have seen 1.38 billion of inflows in the past 2 days. What will today bring? Bitcoin could become an official US strategic reserve asset 3 days from now. And by the way, it might not, but it is definitely something that we are moving towards. And if you think that's priced in, don't forget that Bitcoin was trading around 40,000 when the ETFs were launched. People were saying the ETFs were priced in. Right before Bitcoin began its orderly climb to $108,000. The orange age is on the horizon. Fade it at your own peril. And then, of course, I want to just show one of the amazing photos that Stack always posts. You're not fading this. I'm not fading this. We are in position. Our bags are packed. We are prepared for liftoff. We don't know when that liftoff is going to happen, but I'll be here for it. You'll be here for it. And I'll be here for you to make sure that we're a big part of it. Now I have this video from Michael Saylor where I believe that things are going to get unbelievably exciting in 2025. I truly believe that. I'm fired up. I hope you are as well. It's going to be a volatile ride, but it's going to be a fun ride. But we have to remember to stay calm, to stay focused, and to stay humble. You don't want to go say things and be overly braggadocious or arrogant. Bitcoin is love. MicroStrategy should be love. We should be spreading this love to individuals. That's why I do this every single day. I want to give positivity amongst a world that's trying to spread fear and uncertainty and doubt. I'm not saying that we're not going to have pullbacks. We are. I'm not going to say that there might not be in the future another massive Bitcoin correction. There very well likely could be, but that is part of the cycle of life, and we'll be here for it because, as I said before, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I'm one of those people that you that are watching this video every single day are spending time with. I'm trying to bring positivity, knowledge, value, and good energy into your life. So I hope that you're enjoying that, and I hope you enjoy what Michael Saylor has to say as well.
Here's the thing, right? I mean, this is a big ego thing. Everybody's got a big ego. And the biggest idea and the biggest, most important thing in the 21st century was already invented and discovered by Satoshi. Satoshi created digital capital. Digital capital is worth hundreds of trillions of dollars, $400 trillion by my last estimate. Somebody's already invented a better idea than if you think you're smart enough to come up with a better idea than $450 trillion idea, like what's the second best idea, right? The point is there is no second best idea, right? There's an idea. It's called Bitcoin. It's digital capital. Okay, so you've got the best idea and you're a business person. And if you humble yourself before Satoshi and you recognize the brilliance of digital capital, and you recognize the fact that this is inevitably going to go from $1 trillion to 10 trillion to 20 trillion to 40 trillion to 80 trillion to 160 trillion. It's that nothing stops this train, right? Nothing stops this train.
And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed today's MicroStrategy Today episode. Please comment below where you're watching from. It's very important to me. I love hearing from the viewers and seeing where you're watching this show from. What better picture to end on than Michael Saylor posting a AI image of himself saying there is no second best. I mean, this guy is relentless. He has a sense of humor. He is self-deprecating. He's humble, and he's human. He has flaws as well. I have no doubts, as we all do. But man, I am so glad that I've attached my train to MicroStrategy, to Bitcoin, to Michael Saylor. I'm really excited. But this is just my opinions. This entire video, all of my videos are just my opinions. This is not financial advice. But remember, like the man right here before you today says, there is no second best.
What's the second best? There is no second best.